Have you always done things your own way? Do your own thing, more of a lone wolf type of mentality. If you relate to this, man, you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to reveal how that might actually be your biggest strength, but also can be a weakness if you're not careful. So let's get into it. So being a lone wolf, or the internet also calls it being a Sigma male, whatever label you want to throw on it. I'm talking about being that independent, do your own thing, never part of a group, never part of a community type of guy. If you relate to that, you're in the right place, because I sure as shit do as well. So let me start with the bad and why it can be dangerous actually to be a lone wolf. And this is actually a fairly new way of thinking for me. But the negatives of being a lone wolf is you could be very disconnected from people. It's hard to build intimacy. Right? You never feel like you're part of a community. You're always doing your thing. You're very independent. You like to go against the grain because you just have an instinct. You have a very unique way of looking at life, and your perspective is very different than the average person or everybody else that does things a certain way. The dangerous part about this is it's hard for you to relate to people sometimes. It can be hard for you to actually find a deep, genuine connection because you're always doing things your way. And if you do that too long, you kind of isolate yourself. You self-segregate out of a community or a group or a group of people that could actually be helpful to you, and you could be helpful to them. So the dangers of being a lone wolf is the more time you spend alone, which again, I promote on this channel. But if you do too much of that, and you always stay by yourself, you always isolate, you always remove yourself from a group or community, it can be very lonely. And it'll be hard to actually build genuine connections in your life because you choose to go your own path all of the time. So don't get stuck in that. I know it's very tempting, especially when you learn to build a relationship with yourself. It becomes addicting to always want to do things alone, which again, can be good. And I'm going to get into that in a second. But the negatives of that really mess up your potential relationships. That's with women, with friends, even with family. Because you're constantly doing things your way, and it could cause a little bit of stubbornness if you're not careful, a little bit of ego-driven behavior because you think you know better. And sometimes you might, but sometimes you don't. And it requires counsel from other people who have maybe seen more, done more things than you have, and you don't have that experience. So that's just the negatives of it. The danger is not being able to build quality relationships. And we're all about high quality relationships on this channel as well. So now I'm going to get into the positives. And this was my way of thinking for like 5 to 8 years. I've always kind of identified with this, and I always thought it was a good thing. I'd be a part of communities, I'd be a part of groups, and I'd say, you know what, that way doesn't really fly with me. I'm going to do it this way. And a lot of the times I would get very similar, if not better results, because I had my own way of doing it, or I had a very unique perspective. And I just thought, hey, people don't see it like I do. And the benefit to that is you gain a very, very deep sense of personal identity. You know exactly who you are. You know your strengths. You know your weaknesses. You gain a lot of self-awareness the more time alone that you spend. And the more time away from people that you have, you actually can determine what are your motivations, what are values of yourself, what are visions that you have for the world. You don't really gain that by being around people constantly. You have to have some time alone. You have to have a little bit of time in isolation so you can quiet that noise and get clear what's actually important to you. See, most people are actually averse to being in isolation, to being by themselves, because they fear cutting themselves off from society, number one, and number two, they fear themselves. End of the day, man, most men, straight up most people, fear the actual reflection of themselves. They don't know who the fuck they are, and they hide it by being in groups, by constantly being watching TV, by constantly being on their phones, you name it. We use whatever we can to avoid the harsh reality of our own lives. And that's just the truth. I promote meditation, I promote self-isolation, doing things by yourself for a reason, and it is for that specific reason. Learning to understand who you are. What are your values? what is important to you. And I believe that you really come to terms with that when you can find alone time. It's a good thing that you venture out, that you learn, that you grow, and you do things by yourself. You can do that. You should do that. I believe every person can benefit from building that relationship with yourself. So now what I want to introduce to you is a fully integrated way of how I'm just starting to think about this. Honestly, this thought just came to me like last week or 2 weeks ago, because I just realized, like, holy shit, you can actually have the best of both worlds. And I wanted to make a YouTube video about this because it's such a nuanced thing. I don't think any other YouTube creator, especially any men's creators, are talking about this. And it's so unique and so authentic, which is literally the point of me making this video and the point of being a lone wolf, because it is unique. What I'm starting to realize now, it is actually a massive strength to be more of a lone wolf, sigma male, whatever type. Because yes, you gain the benefits of going out on your own. You gain the benefits of learning yourself, of gaining experience by yourself, of actually understanding what you're here to do. What are your values? What is your vision? What is your mission? That is extremely, extremely valuable. And it is also valuable that as that lone wolf, you also come back to society, come back to communities, come back to people. So you actually build that connection even more because you have unique perspectives, because you ventured out on your own and built your individual mind, your authenticity. Now, being that man, you can come back into a community, a group, whatever, with people and share what you've learned and share your new experiences and put a different take on things that most people probably don't see. I truly believe that if you identify as a lone wolf, your purpose here on Earth is to help other people find their authenticity. Is to help other people create new, unique perspectives. I think part of my purpose is actually helping people find their unique, authentic leadership style. And that can look in many different ways. Obviously, I serve men, I serve you. That's what I'm here for. And I help you find your ability to be a man, but in your own way. Because I've done it my own way. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, do you see how those are connected? It's not like you venture off in yourself and you never talk to other people. No, you can have both. As a man, part of your masculinity is to contribute. So by being a lone wolf, you actually gain experience that you can teach, that you can coach, that you can share with others that may have not had that opportunity to create their own identity, to understand themselves. You can teach others how to do that now. Do you see the power in this? I didn't realize how you can actually have both, how you can integrate being a lone wolf with being a guy that has good quality relationships, how to create better connections. You actually can create deeper connections because you're a lone wolf, because you understand yourself more, and you can help others understand themselves more. You actually create a more intimate connection. And you can actually create bigger change in the world because you've gone out and you've seen what you've seen. You've gained your own experience. I think more men need to think like this. More men need to understand this, because the one thing that we're lacking today, especially in the new generation, is a sense of community, is a sense of brotherhood, where other men are holding each other high. We're doing the right thing, where we're holding each other accountable to our lives and our goals. Now, there's small things that I'm noticing that are starting to happen. I'm creating my own communities. Stay in tune for that, because I will be mentioning some things about it. But there's always room for more. There's always room for people that think the same way or aspire to create amazing results in life. You got to be around those kind of people. And I believe lone wolves, they understand this innately. We innately have this desire to be the best versions of ourselves, to do things on an exceptional and excellent level. But we go about it and do it our own way. But now, what I'm inviting you to think about is, once you do that, you come back to society. You come back to other people and you share and you build. That's how you're going to contribute. It is a gift to be a free thinker. And it'd be a shame if you didn't share that gift with anybody else. So that's the way I'm thinking. I hope this makes sense. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I know this was a little bit of a long-winded video, but man, you have to understand, this is a very deep topic. One that I don't think is addressed honestly at all. I've never heard anybody else talk about this, but it is part of my authenticity, part of my lone wolfness of learning that. And I wanted to share that. If you identify with being that kind of guy, a lone wolf, the Sigma male, whatever, like whatever you want to label it, this is the next phase. This is the next evolution of your development, is to bring that learning and bring that wisdom, bring some of that experience into the next person. So hopefully this made sense. Comment down below if it did. Comment down below if you identify with a lone wolf. And if you enjoy content about improving your masculinity, improving the quality of your relationships, and the quality of your lifestyle, you're in the right place. Click subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video. And if you want to work with me personally to become the most confident, fulfilled, and attractive version of yourself, make sure you click the link down below. I offer free discovery calls, and we can talk about your goals and what you need to do in order to actually get there this year in 2024. And that's it, man. I wanted to introduce a new thought pattern for you, especially if you generally like to do things your own way. Again, I relate to all this because that's who I am too. So I wanted to share my perspective and hopefully enlighten you a little bit. So with that being said, man, hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Remember, everything truly does start with you. Peace out, man.